it's now time for Women's World, and we have an amazing discussion lined up. All right, so COVID-19 has altered many things in our lives, including our relationships. Going out has been put on pause. Does that mean our date nights and fun time has been also faced with some kind of pause, How do we ensure that there's still fire in our relationships as we stay safe inside? And how do we keep our relationships spicy? So joining us to help understanding how to put or keep spice in our relationships are Tony McLaren, and she is a relationship advisor, co-host of Man-Woman Conversations, and SallyAnn Gray, entrepreneur and author. And they're both here with us to get this spicy conversation going. All right. So yeah, not going anywhere. Not being able to do a lot for those of us who would do that, be going out a lot and so forth. Tanya, give me some background. You've kept a couple of events you've mentioned, and focused on couples. Right. Give me some background on what was happening then and what can we do now.
Okay, so at that time, we had access to outside, so persons would go on dinner dates, or have picnics, or they'll double date and do sporting activities together, or just have fun, because our idea of having fun is going out.
Right.
Now the mechanics have changed as it relates to romance, so persons have to find a way to be very creative. And so the couples that really have that imagination, they're the ones that will survive this crisis.
So if you have an imagination,
it may be a little bit challenging, but there's hope. That's why we're having this discussion.
That's why we're having this discussion. Right. So when we are finished with this discussion, our couples who are watching will have a little bit more of some journey as to what. Sally, author, entrepreneur, also, and you're married too as well, correct? So we have two married women here. Children?
4 children.
Okay,
children.
So you know of which you speak.
I know.
And Sally, you too.
Yes, I'll be married for 9 years come October, and Mark and I have 2 children.
2 children, beautiful. All right, so give us your take on that. And as an author, you've had a chance to write a couple of books as it relates to just renewal of your own mind and just different aspects, as well as you're a trainer. How do you bring all that in and give us some information on how to handle relationships?
Well, I've never considered myself a relationship guru or expert, because Mark and I are still learning. But one of the things that we've had to do is just lean into each other and start to relearn and unlearn some things about each other, because now we have all this time. But outside, so yesterday when
all this time, Sally, man, we have all this time.
So yesterday when the young lady messaged me and she's like, "So what you guys do to keep the spice?" And I was like, "Well, like right now I have on my tired same way, because it does never work out." But the thing is, you know what? I don't put on makeup every day. I put on makeup if I have a training. And the thing, I think it's very important as it relates to keeping the spice in your home, is to always remember that what is good for the gray household may not be good for the brown household. And so for me, I know my husband. My husband do like makeup, him not like nothing false. So actually getting to see me without makeup for what, 95% of the time right now,
for him is
actually like great, right, babe? And then like he is not necessarily a lingerie kind of guy. Mark is a boy shorts and marina kind of sexy kind of a vibe. So I think it's important for couples to know what each other like and the love language, and lean into that, and not so much focus on a textbook version of what would add spice, but knowing your partner and what they love and giving them that. So
all right, so spice is a broad terminology. What are some of the things that we can do to keep our relationship spicy at this time?
One of the things that I've discovered is I don't know my husband and he doesn't know me. That sort of journey, that excitement, it can be rekindled. There is a New York, I think it's 37 questions to fall in love. If you go through those questions, you'll be amazed at the answers that your spouse will come up with. So there are so many ways to rediscover your partner and to, rekindle that fire. you can have, my husband and I were discussing, you know, let's go out and look at the stars. It's been a long time since we have done that.
Yes.
You know, the place is so silent. Nobody's out.
Yes.
Let us just do that. But with kids, I know it can be very challenging.
That was my next question. I'm glad you went there.
Right. That can be challenging. But what we have found a way to do is to not see our children as challenges, but to sort of, because there must be a reason for all of this. There must be a plan. And if you can't change it, then you have to learn to work around it. You can't change a lot of stuff. Some persons don't have that huge house to go and put the kids them, or even, I wouldn't even advise to say go over grandma, because we're told to kind of turn your yard.
Yes.
So you have to find a way. You have to find a way. You have to allow your children to see and understand how mommy and daddy interact. So we do spend time together, and we tell them we're spending time together now, and they'll understand and they'll go and play or something, and we just find our way. We find our way.
Sarah, who is my daughter, she's 4, she's absolutely not having it. Oh, so you're going to go spend time with your husband now, mommy?
That's what she said.
Of course, yes. Okay, mommy, it's time to spend time with your husband now. And I say yes, so excuse me. You know, so we start to, you know, teach them from now on that mommy and daddy have a relationship independent of them. And while we spend family time together, it's also important for mommy and daddy to have mommy and daddy time. And we tell them, we say, listen, mommy and daddy, we were an item before you and Malachi came on the planet.
You guys are new, okay?
Yeah, you're new to this little thing, right?
Still,
and I think it's important for parents, especially during this time, to remember that the kids are gonna grow up and they're gonna go to college and they're gonna have a life for themselves. And I look at myself now, where me just hail up my mother like once a day, like, mommy, you good? And guess what happened? Is she and my father now after all these years? And so you don't want the kids to get older and move out and have their own life, and then you don't know your partner. So like, you know, the other night, Mark and I watched a movie. I think the name of it was Sprinter. It was nice, and we talked about it. And another thing, outside of spice in the sense of the sexual part. Yeah, because we know so that have a ton up. But one of the things that I want to implore couples to do now is keep it spicy with regards to working on your vision and your mission. Like, connect around, yes, you have your own individual goals, but what are we commissioned to do as a marriage?
What is the purpose of the marriage?
Because the truth is, you know, marriage is a partnership. It is. It is a collaboration, right? And when you come together, the marriage must produce something. Yes, you produce children, but what is it producing? Well, for me, for the kingdom, right? And so what are we working on together? What is the vision, and how do we plan on getting there? So Mark and I get very excited when we're talking about the, like, oh babe, you know, what's happening with Great Focus? What's happening with Global Speakers? All right, what we're working on together? What's the next project? How we're going, you know, work out this thing now? And it gets us excited. And it even gets us to the place where we actually really want to have sex with each other and spend time, because you feel that
the connection is getting deeper. I agree with her totally, because my husband also is reading much more. And he's seen, because you know, men sometimes, well, my husband, I can see the typical man, it take a while to catch on to the vision. Like, you know, him support me and everything, it take a while. And now I see that he's coming into, you know, because he has time to think. So he's saying, boy, I must see where this is going. Like where we're going. I see how we're impacting couples. I see how couples calling us, asking us for counsel. And he's just equipping himself, and he's reading more. And I appreciate that. And I wanted to add about the sex thing, because let me tell you something. When you are going out, you can do this big sex night. You know, you plan for that. But no, you can't do that. Kids are everywhere, all over the place. And but you have to find, we find small ways now. So he'll just walk up and touch me in a little funny way, or we just sit, and while I'm seasoning the meat, I pass the seasoning, and you know, those little stuff, and we just enjoy each other's space, and we make it fun. But still have to call him only for time for come here. You know, but I mean, now I'm looking into the fact that just appreciating, because I've seen so many persons die and losing their spouse. You just start to appreciate and zoom in. I'm not fussy about no sheet now. I'm not fussy about the house now. I used to be extra monkish.
You just,
Not that I'm not monkish, but you know what I'm saying. But I have to just tone it down, because I realize that I have to prioritize what is truly important. And when you start to zoom into those things, then it adds to the spice.
So in a case where you have like a couple who were having communication issues, or they weren't having spice, I mean, what's that like now?
Well,
What do you think
you
that
actually have
reality,
to-
how does one make a decision that, okay, I'm going to do, because it starts with one. It always, and sometimes we read, the female as a nurturer always tends to want to be the one to instigate, to obviously want to make a better space, environment for the relationship. I mean, what are some of the tips for our viewers if you want to look at spicing up? Because we spoke about off air, but you were speaking about just the importance of you first. How do you present yourself in a relationship? And that's really on you as a person. How do you do that first?
Well, initially in our marriage and relationship, I always used to say, but Matt not doing this. Matt not doing that. And I have really learned to lead from within and start saying, Sally, how have you contributed to this? How can you make this situation better? You know what I'm saying? My husband love when I cook, so I cook and him walk past and him touch the little bottom chicken. You know, and so I'm thinking, like, what can I do to serve him? And I think if couples wake up every morning, the husband says, how can I serve you today,
Okay, because I was about to say, we're 3 females here and we're having woman's world. But then what do we want from the men? So don't forget to tell us, you know.
How can I serve you, babe? So husbands, you know, sometimes my husband will wake up and he's like, babe, how can I help you today? You know, and vice versa. You know, what can I do to help you in your business, in, you know, whatever, within the house or whatever. And I think it's just very important for us to, you know, lean into that and focus more on leading from within and focusing on what can I do to help this situation, to help our marriage not be so miserable. Look at you rather than man just laugh. Man just laugh. Anyway, what
not
can
miserable at all, I'm sure.
No, at all. But what can I do to make my home a peaceful place?
And what is that like, though, when your husband says to you, for example, how can I help you this morning? What kind of energy does that give to you?
Gosh.
What
it just make me feel like I want to jump up and cook big breakfast and do beer things. Yeah, man. Yeah, and you know, it's hard for over the stove 3 times a day now, you know. But, you know, those little things, you know, encouragement, sweeten labor, you know?
That's on you. The time is so still. One of the things that I have practiced or is practicing now is to listen. A lot of times as women, we talk a lot. We just talk, and we just want to get our point out. And even if the man is explaining, we're just saying, we don't think we're doing that, but we're looking at but we do that. We're like saying, you know, I make no sense. We don't sum it up saying I make no sense. I mean, I tell you.
We've already from you say,
right. We work it out. I'm now paying attention. I was listening to Jimmy.
Let go my shirt. Let go my shirt.
All right, advisor. I was listening to Jimmy Evans the other day, and he was saying the same way women are immodest about, you know, sex. We wouldn't want our husband going to workplace, sharing with his friends, oh, you know, this is my wife, and she positions and she wants it. Men are very immodest about their feelings, about their emotions. They take a while to come out. And I want to tap into that area. So I'm starting to listen and to really pay attention when my husband says, my ego is everything. I don't take it to be, Lord, you're just big-headed. Everything about your ego. I'm starting to understand that the same way my dignity means a lot to me is ego, and so I have to now practice to protect that. So I want
and not look at ego negatively.
Right. So women need to. This is the opportunity for you to listen. The time is still physically, and you need to keep still and pay attention and get your man to start talking to you because he has nowhere else to go. He has nobody else. He have to stand and no. So you know, now is the opportunity to say, babes, what are you thinking? Because sometimes men have dreams, they have big visions, but they're challenged by so many things. They want to be this great provider, they want to be this great protector, and society puts so many limitations on them. It's easier for us as women. We just go and chat.
Correct. Very true. Our culture allows us. And this Jamaican culture actually limits how men
I would advise a lot of women, I mean, even a couple that I was counseling the other day, and I mean, all it took was for her just to listen. And when I was the mediator and he spoke to me, he just got some stuff off his chest. And I said, can you write that down? And I asked him permission to send it to her in a text. When I sent it to her, she said, I didn't know he thought. I said, all of what he was doing, his strategy may not be perfect, but he had a plan. And if you could just acknowledge the plan and let him know that, babes, you're safe with me. I may not agree with everything, but you're safe with me. Then they are having such, she's like, McLaren, Lord God, me good man. That is what I'm doing now. So I'm advising. A lot of the arguments that couples are having or the difficulties is because somebody is not listening. We're listening to chat. We're not listening to understand. And somebody
trying to listen to show up.
And I concur with that because my husband has said that to me already. I'm right here in the studio.
Someone has said that
but
to
you're
me
not, your husband, babe, but you're not listening. Him say, you love the talking, but trust me, when it come on to the listening parts, I have had to be practicing that. And when I realized I cut him off, I go around in him off and him take away himself, I go around in him office and say, all right, babe, I'm sorry. Talk to me, not tell me. And then, I have to friend him up a little bit. I say, you love to talk too much, man. And then I friend him up a little bit until him kind of calm down and then him start sharing.
And also, as it relates to sex, because, men they're going to be home and their sexual, I didn't understand this either. Their sexual drive is like, okay.
Increase?
Yeah.
So do you think? So do you think a lot more sex is being had now?
Yes, and let me tell you, a woman, we will sometimes come off in a shrink. Like, Lord Jesus, got a sex alone and think about every day.
And the thing
honestly, that's what they think about every day.
We're having this conversation about that kind of activity. But even so, as you mentioned, you think the environment, how we show up is what actually improves every aspect of the relationship. So apart from that, no, there is that show up. And I think I was reading this book, the Five Love Languages, Chapman, and I've not completed it. Probably I'm having a problem accepting some of the things, right? But the love language aspect of a relationship, you guys weigh in on that, because I mean, your husband, my husband, her husband, or for someone who is dating, because we're three married women, but there are very many different scenarios represented here in our country. In our country, you have some relationships now, people watching right now, and they're struggling, and they'd like to hear a little bit more about how to even spice up their mental space to be able to go through this, because they're stuck with possibly the cause of the thought of divorce or the thought of leaving, and COVID has forced them together. What is this about love language? How can, apart from, you mentioned being still, listening more, and this is, I'm sure, for both female and males, but like, how do we show up for ourselves in relationships so that we can truly understand all of what's going on during this confusion? Sally?
Well, I think it's very important to cultivate a particular culture in your home now. Self-care is very important. So I wake up and I get my mind right by doing devotion. If Mark is still sleeping, I do my own devotion. If we wake up together, we do devotion together to kind of lean into God. And
what about the couple that one person is doing devotion but the other isn't?
I think the person who is more aware, the person who has more wisdom, the person who has more knowledge and more understanding should allow that to play out in the marriage. So you lead from within, and if you know better, you do better, right? So you set the tone in your household and pray that the culture that would be established in this home is one of peace and one of joy, and that we would thrive in here today. So just create that culture in your home to take care of yourself. Self-care first, lean into that and start to cultivate a practice of asking, how can I serve you today? One thing that I did, and one thing that I did the other day, and it got my husband's attention. So some of the days,
tell us, Sally,
some of the days, no, seriously, it was just something simple, because some of the days, I'm not going to pretend, I have on the tired on my head the whole day, and I clean and I wash and I look away, right? But
you see yourself with a different,
But
for 9 years,
it might work with me. But generally, I try to wake up and comb out my hair, and I took a shower, I put on a nice little dress, and I spray some body splash. So I go in Mark's office, and I'm like, what go on, babe? And he said, what's your perfume in the house? So I'm like,
Simple, yeah.
but it's catching my attention. I see you.
I'm going to change that perfume next week. Yeah. I hear you saying new perfume.
Yeah, so watch your perfume in the house. So, I mean, just some simple little things. Come out here, put on a little, you know, so I have some little road dresses where you just draw on and go supermarket. Just a little cute little drag on. So instead of us having on house clothes, babe, drag on one of the kind of road dresses, pull yourself together and spice it up a little bit. You don't have to have on no makeup and do no whole heap extra. Go so put on like a body splash and you know, keep the thing jiggy.
2 points I want to bring to that, add to that rather, is marriage is God. God directed. He has given us the manual. I know sometimes persons don't, you know, they don't want to get to God, but it came from God. And if you are in a marriage, a broken home, you're about to separate, you're about, you know, if divorce, whatever it is, and you're in that situation right now, and you, as Sally said, you're the person who prays, and you know you want to have that culture of prayer and worship, or you know, just a God environment. Keep doing it, because once you're doing it by faith, then trust God to reinforce. Sometimes we have faith in God to provide. We have faith in God to protect us from the virus and other stuff, but we don't have faith enough to say, if I have said my truth, if I have done all I can, then he will do the rest for me. And trust me, he will do the rest. There are times when I have, in my early stage of marriage, because I've been married almost 12 years, and when in my early stage, there are times I'm saying the same thing to my husband over and over. I'm like, God, you don't like me, you hate me, this is the wrong person I'm married. Them stress me out, me think murder, me think some things. And I'm saying the worst of me is coming out. I said, this marriage could not be for me, because the worst of me is coming out in this marriage. And all God wanted me to do was to say, why can't you just shut up? Like, why can't you just trust me enough?
The shut up thing really
when
coming up a lot.
Because a lot of times we don't have faith enough for God to do that part. And sometimes you may be having devotion. Oh, my husband I have the devotion, and the man not even know God, and him not want God.
I mean, not Jamaican said not to cut you, but as we go through, I think we tend to forget that every relationship is with two people coming with two different backgrounds, all even they live on the same avenue and know each other. You have been grown up differently, you have different aspirations, again, you might have a different love language. So you're showing up in a relationship with your version of yourself, and you continue to grow and change as well, and so it brings different dynamics. So as you said, you know, you're always forcing and you're looking and saying this should have been better, that should have been better, but it's
just do what you should do. One speaker said that every couple likes Ephesians that talk about women respecting and man loving, but they don't like their part, they like the other person's part. Like, yeah, you have to love me, you have to dead for me. And the husband is saying she must respect me, but when we're supposed to zoom into our part, we're like, all right, then we'll talk about that next week. You know, so I just want us to show, as you said, show up and be yourself, work on you. This is the opportunity to work on you. All right, because marriage stops here.
So work on you. Marriage stops here.
And the next point I wanted to bring across was, if there's so many access to so many things, like Sally's doing a training, so many things happening, you can't be bored. Like, you just can't be bored. There's a lot of stuff to do to get you engaged in becoming a better you. And she was talking about spice. I remember the communication has to be rich right now. It has to be. I was saying to my husband, I was so stressed out that day with the 4 kids. I wanted to just throw everybody out of the house and just make people just carry them, go put them somewhere. It was a lot. And when he came home, I said, babes, today was not a good day. I am stressed. I'm overwhelmed. And he listened. He couldn't do anything. But you know what he did? He washed my hair.
Perfect.
He just came in the bathroom and said, come wash. And you know, they might try other things with the wash hair thing, but I just said, keep it on the ear, keep it on the ear. But that was good. It detoxed and it helped too, you know?
All right, well, we had a seriously exciting discussion. It could continue on and on and on. I'd love to hear the male version of this. But we're doing a few things.
Quick giveaway.
Please, yes, go ahead.
So guys, I haven't, is it on set? Okay. I've written a book entitled The Renewal, and it is really aimed at helping persons to shift their mindset, work on their goals, work on their vision. And so I wanted to offer that to a couple. So the first couple who can slide in, CVMs?
Yes.
DM?
Yes.
See, the first couple who can slide in CVM's DM and say The Renewal.
Right.
Just out the
So
words.
definitely.
Yeah,
yes.
you will. You can come and claim it here at the studio, and it's really aimed at helping couples to shift their mindset so that they can transform their lives. Well, not couples, but people in general.
Yeah.
And you can use it to set goals and work on yourself.
Thank you so much, Sally.
Yes.
Stay tuned to social media, and we'll give you more information on that. Thank you, ladies. It was awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.